Yo, back at some more or another Alien Earth review, episode 3. Um, just got done watching it. I guess I'm gonna hop straight into it. I'm gonna say right off the bat, this show did not get any better. Um, like I said, it is the reason I'm watching it is because there is a lot of interesting things. Like I said, this show has a lot of good. It has a lot of good. What would you call it? Good ideas. Good good I don't know, but it has a lot of good ideas, but the execution of these ideas are just terrible. And the pacing is horrendous. But it's so like I need to know how they're going to make any of this make sense. Um but let's go. The episode starts out they're capturing the aliens, the kids. They're not capturing the aliens, but they're putting them in containment to come get picked up because they've been told to retreat. But yeah, the the last episode ended with Joe getting snatched off a building, and that's where we resume. Boy Cavalier calls in. He says, "Hey, time to wrap it up. Um, take the aliens, get out of there." And he's like, "Okay," but Wendy's gone, so they gotta go get Wendy, and that's what they do. Or how does Wendy get captured? I forgot. I think they just pass out and then like cut to black. But the xenomorph is dead, so basically the threat's eliminated. But the kids, they're mad over Wendy being special. Like I said, I don't know nothing about Peter Pan. So I don't know if I don't even know why this show has a correlation to Peter Pan. I don't get it. Um if it's supposed to be good storytelling, like, oh, it's like Peter Pan, haha. I don't get it because I don't give a fuck about Peter Pan. And I could obviously like I can see the Peter Pan similarities because they're pretty much forced. At one point, I could have just sworn that the character just says "Boy Cavalier" is Peter. Like they just straight up say it. But another thing I don't like about this show is like Boy Cavalier. Um, a part of me at the beginning had me interested, but that was mostly episode 1. But now episode 2, 3, and 4, Boy Cavalier is basically just annoying. He's annoying me to the maximum. Because I don't know, like his character is so weird. You don't know if he's supposed to be evil. Um, is he supposed to be evil because of he sent the children on a wrecked ship to retrieve whatever was on there. He didn't know it was aliens, but he did send kids to on a wrecked ship to retrieve goods. So you don't know if he's supposed to be evil because he doesn't care about the kids, or maybe because he's obsessed with knowledge. I don't know. Or is he charismatic because he saved the kids and the kids they care about Boy Cavalier? I wouldn't necessarily care, but they respect him. So I don't know. Like, uh, he's just coming off as annoying though. But then Wendy, we go back to Wendy. Uh, she's going to save her brother Joe, who fell, I don't know, probably like 10 stories. Somehow Joe's alive from falling. I guess because the xenomorph purposely kept Joe alive to put babies in him. So much in this show, like, why didn't the xenomorph put babies in Joe? I don't think it takes that long. If I'm not mistaken, maybe I could be mistaken. Maybe it does take time. But Joe gets captured. He gets trapped, put in a truck, long truck, moving truck, 18 wheeler. The alien comes, is like, oh, Joe was like, yo, it's a trap. Don't come in here. Wendy comes in there because, of course, she does. She's a 12-year-old kid. Um, she comes in there. She goes to rescue Joe. And then the xenomorph does the stupidest shit. It lets him live. And that, what I mean by that is, instead of the xenomorph getting inside the truck, because the xenomorph has never been a bitch in terms of fighting. It's never cowered from a fight. And they don't fight smart either. Like xenomorphs don't think that much. They're just stealth. if a xenomorph saw a human, it would attack, and you would think that the characters are stuck inside of a truck. You would think the xenomorph would just ram in the truck and just start mauling him. We seen the same xenomorph kill like 8 full-grown soldiers with guns, rip them to shreds in 8 seconds. We've seen a xenomorph go inside of a party with like 20 people, rip everyone to shreds in like 20 seconds. He gets 2 characters in a truck and says, "Oh, I'm gonna let you have this. I didn't realize the main character was in here with you." And it's like, why couldn't you just write this smarter? There's a lot of things you could have done. Like I would rather have like the xenomorph, I don't know, come inside the truck and I don't know, Wendy tackle it or something. Other than it just sitting, other than it just like it had no reason to go on top of the truck and start shaking it. Like there's gonna be plenty more humans to put eggs in. But basically it flips the truck, shakes the truck, scares them. Um, um, I'm trying to think. Well, well, it stopped shaking the truck. Joe was like, "Oh, Wendy." I don't know how Wendy flew out the truck, but basically Wendy flew out the truck somehow. "Oh, Wendy, where are you at?" Haha, Wendy. And he goes, he picks up a hook because yeah, Peter Pan. Um, which I'm looking getting tired. Like the fact I instantly recognized that they were talking about Peter Pan when he picked up the hook was so annoying. But he picks up the hook. He goes to fight the xenomorph. The xenomorph once again says, "Yo, I forgot you were the main character," and he lets the main character live, which is so annoying because like, why are we doing this? Anyway, he takes Joe. I think he stabs him in the side because he's still alive. He's still kicking it somehow, but he stabs Joe in the side. Right, picks him up, throws him across the driving parking lot. Instead of I don't know biting Joe's head off, a lot of this stuff is like it's not really intriguing because the xenomorph is not acting like it wants to kill the humans. Like I said, what makes a good horror movie is when the main characters try to do everything they can, and the threat is still extreme. That is what makes movies like Jeepers Creepers is one of my favorite horror movies of all time, 1 and 2. The reason the movies are so good is because the main characters in the movies, they're not stupid. They want to live and they make smart decisions. And guess what? It still fails. They still cannot succeed. Uh, in this show, it's like the xenomorph just does things so the main characters can have a chance. Um, if this was like no, if these were like 2 side characters, right, and they tried to do the same thing, they would instantly die. They would instantly die. But Wendy, she gets pulled by the. She's pulling the xenomorph. She grabs Joe's hook, right, and she slams it into the xenomorph's mouth. She pulls the xenomorph. She's like, "Yo, come here, Joe, get up. You only got stabbed by a tail, so stand up, cause that shit doesn't matter." That was a previous scene. So she's like, "Joe, get up. Um, we're gonna decapitate the xenomorph," and that's what they try to do. But the xenomorph says, "Psych." The xenomorph pulls Wendy inside of the room. The door closes. Um, the door closes, and the show was like, "Oh, is Wendy going to be able to kill the xenomorph?" I don't know who. I don't know who thought that the Wendy was going to lose to a xenomorph. Did the show really think or believe that anybody would believe that the xenomorph would lose to Wendy? No, I wanted the xenomorph to win, not to kill Wendy. But I thought it could be a nice tone to have the xenomorph destroy Wendy. And then I thought Prodigy would come and then they would use the taser gun that the android had to put the xenomorph down. And that's how the xenomorph got to the island. But that didn't happen. I thought because Wendy, I thought it was gonna be like the xenomorph thought she killed Wendy, but since she's synthetic, you can just repair her if she's not severely injured. But there is a reason for why they kept Wendy alive, and that was so the xenomorph could. I don't know what the xenomorph did. We don't know yet. We just have to trust the show that it's gonna make sense. But to put it lightly, the xenomorph made her a mother. The xenomorph made Wendy part of the alien because the show says like, oh, if you're synthetic, then you cannot be impregnated. So obviously she doesn't have a baby inside of her. We don't know. We just have to trust the show that is going to pay off. Um, but we don't even know if the xenomorph kept Wendy alive because of that. Maybe Wendy won because she's just better. We have no clue what went on in that room. Um, but after that, Joe was like, oh, he's throwing up blood, he's throwing up everything. Comes up to Wendy, does the whole movie thing where it's like, stay alive, stay with me. And, Wendy's not moving. Joe passes out and it fades to black. Obviously, they come get picked up by Prodigy because, I mean, just because. There's no reason, there's no explanation for that. But yeah, Prodigy come pick him up. Or reinforcements, whatever it was. But the black cyborg guy, I don't know nobody name, so all I know is Wendy. I know Joe, Boyd Cavalier. Damn, I don't even know nobody's name. I was really trying to think, but the black cyborg guy. Oh, hold on. First, we got to talk about. Actually, we don't have to talk about it because it's actually not that important. But there's the two kids. They're next to the alien eggs. They're like, oh, they start acting like kids. Oh, it's aliens, crazy stuff. Yeah, oh, we're kids, haha. And then the black cyborg guy. I did like this part. This part gave me a little feel good. I shall say. If I had to compliment the show, I did like this part. The black cyborg guy, he comes up to the kids. He's like pointing a gun at them, and he's a dad, so he instantly recognizes that they're kids, which I thought was fantastic. I thought he was going to treat them like adults that were like childish, but no, he knew they were kids. He knew he didn't need his gun anymore, and I instantly like that they did that. I'm so glad that this is like probably the only character in the show, and weirdly enough, the best character in the show or top three character in the show right now, who treated the kids like they're kids. I I like this scene a lot where he's like, "Yo, you're acting like you're kids," and it's like, "Oh," and he's like, "Yeah, they're kids," and he recognizes that, and then he chills. But then again, he still has a mission to do, which I'm pretty sure he would murder these kids if they came in what's it called, in his way of his mission. But basically, he's telling the kids like, "Oh, they're aliens. They're aliens." That's basically what he's telling them. I don't know why he's telling the kids that they're aliens, but he is. Um, and basically, he's downloading the data to delete the data. This is so they can erase it from history of aliens, because this is a prequel. This is a prequel to other movies, so you can't have this information. So obviously, this cyborg is going to die, and all the information he's downloaded into his brain is going to be deleted. Um, so they have to clean up after themselves because this is a prequel. Which anytime you make a prequel, you're already messing with history, established lore. Um, unless like Lord of the Rings, and then you make The Hobbit, because then at that point you're not creating things out of thin air. You're just going out of order. Um, but basically, the cyborg says, "Yo, what are you?" And then he low key gets mad because you can tell in this show the cyborg has been told his whole life that he's not human, and you can see it in some people's shoulders like, "Oh, you're a cyborg, get the fuck away from me." And then this kid is like, "Yo, we have parents. We're not cyborg. We're human." And then he gets mad at it because he's like, "Oh, how are you a human and I'm not?" And says, "When a machine, not a machine." Touches the kid's neck with a fingerprint. He puts like a, what's it called? A fingerprint. Yeah, he puts a fingerprint on the kid's neck, and That's a playback later, basically, to how you can talk to him. But anyway, the old guy with the gray hair, he pulls up. Probably my favorite character so far. And I don't even know his name. But the old guy that's taking care of the kids, he pulls up. He says, "Yo, put that gun down, bro. You're not gonna do nothing with that." Uh, and basically, he's like, "Dude, we already know who you are, bro. You already cooked. The aliens already wrapped up. Like, there's three of us. Prodigy, like like this is Prodigy's territory. You lose here. Even if you kill us, you're gonna have to fight hundreds of soldiers. You can't move crates." And then, rightfully so, the first guy that the dude runs into that's confident, he runs away. Basically, it's because he's forced to, because he was next to an egg, and the face hugger was about to jump on him. Which wouldn't have done anything. I don't think cyborgs can be impregnated. Maybe they're half human. We don't know yet. But another thing the show does is he just runs away. Basically, cyborg runs away. Um, After that, they go back to the island. The kids are there. Um, they bring everybody back. I think everybody who was on the ship they brought to this island. Are they? Once again, why they're doing this? Why did they bring the people who were search and rescue who went on the ship to here? It's so they can kill everybody, and none of this ever existed. Because once again, this is a prequel, and this information and science doesn't exist in the sequel. So all this stuff is going to get erased. It's most likely going to either get bombed. That's most likely. It's going to get bombed, or the city's going to sink. Because there's no way everyone can survive, or this information can make it out. But the xenomorph comes to the island. Um, Obviously, everyone's intrigued. Boy wonders. He's like, "Yo, is Mercy all right?" And everyone's pissed at him, rightfully so. He's like, "Yo, this is a kid. She would have been all right if you never sent her there." And then Boy Cavalier is like, yo, my bad. I'm sorry, not sorry." He kind of is. Like, Boy Cavalier does. I think he does care for the kids. Um, to an extent. Does he care that they're human? I don't know. Does he care that they're products? Yes. I don't think he really cares that they're kids. And that's probably another thing I don't like about this show. I really wish characters in this show would just treat the kids like they're kids instead of treating them like they're adults. It's so annoying where when a 12-year-old acts like a 12-year-old, and then the characters are like kind of annoyed. Like, yeah, they're 12. Um but it was so weird and cringe for the show to even have adults acting like 12-year-olds instead of, just having adults. But basically the alien is trapped. Boy Wonder comes to see it. The old guy with the gray hair says, "Yo, oh, that's the next alien." The old guy with the gray hair says, "Yo, what is that?" Um, he's like, he said, "What are you doing here?" He didn't really say that. I'm watching a show and I'm going, rewatching him. But he says the guy comes in. Boy Cavalier gets too close to an egg. The guy says, "Get the fuck out. You're human. If it jumps on me, I cannot be impregnated. It won't do anything." And Boy Cavalier says, "Yo, let no one in here that's not synthetic." But the thing is, Wendy has something going on with the alien. So now maybe it doesn't have to be synthetic. Or maybe it doesn't have to be human. Maybe the alien can use synthetic bodies to hibernate or use as another shell. Which would actually be pretty clever if they like, "Oh, you thought because you went synthetic that you can't trap us. I mean, that we can't impregnate you. Maybe you're right, and maybe you're not. We're not. Maybe we can't impregnate you, but we can use you as a carry, like a disease or a parasite, until we can get to a human. Which is, I think that's where we're going with Wendy. I think Wendy is carrying something until she can get to a human. But basically, they fast forward. The old guy he takes out because he knows everything about the xenomorph. He downloaded it. We saw this in the second episode. He downloaded all the information from the ship. So that I like that pretty fast. We don't need how he got the information. He downloaded it, and he knows everything about the aliens. So they cut open the alien face hugger. Hold on, what's before this? There's a scene in here I hate it. Um, but there's a scene in here where the kid is like, "Oh, I'm better than Wendy," and I get it. Kids are jealous. Kids do not like to be called. Kids want to be known as the favorite. This is normal. All kids have asked their parents, "Who's your favorite?" There's hundreds of videos on the internet of kids asking, "Who's your favorite?" Because it is normal to know that. But instead of Boy Cavalier, treating a kid like a kid, he says, "Yeah, Wendy is my favorite. Let me get all your emotions in the way and start doing dumb shit so you can start doing dumb shit." Hinting, I wouldn't be surprised if this show starts saying, "Okay, now this girl wants to kill Wendy because she wants to be the favorite." I think that's where they're leading up to, where it's like, "Oh, the only way I can be the favorite is if Wendy doesn't exist. So let me get rid of Wendy." But this whole scene where it's like, "Oh, am I your favorite?" was so weird. It was basically like a 12-year-old girl asking a grown adult, like, "Am I your favorite child?" And it's like, it just comes off as weird because it's like, did we really need this? Did I really need to have a scene where a kid is crying that she's not Boy Cavalier's favorite? And you can see, like, in the scene, it's weird because Boy Cavalier is intrigued that she's mad that she's not his favorite. It's like, "Oh, you want to be my favorite? You got to do these things, and maybe then you'll be my favorite." But it's still Wendy. And it's like, why not just say, "Yes, you are my favorite"? Or why not just say the real answer, like, "You're all equal"? But he does this weird, "Yeah, Wendy's the best because she's number one." And it's like, man, can we. No one in this show treats these kids like kids, and it's fucking pissing me off because it's like, if I was here, dude, I would treat them like they're kids. I would care for them, but they're treated like fucking robots. They're treated like property, and it's annoying. But basically, he says, "Yeah, maybe one day you'll be my favorite," aka you ain't got a chance. And that's basically what she's. That's basically what Boy Cavalier is telling her. He's like, "You'll never be my favorite." He says you're in the race, which is, I don't know why he's saying that, but we know Wendy's the main character. You'll never win. But the black guy, the black cyborg guy. Fast forward. The black cyborg guy. He's talking to the Indian kid, and he's like, "Yo, what's up?" And the Indian kid starts screaming like, "Yo, what the fuck? Why are you talking to me?" Um, and yeah, basically they just keep talking. It's like, "Yo, what's up, man? We talked on the ship. You remember me? You said I need friends." And it's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Can you be my friend?" And he's like, "Yeah, you can be my friend." And see, and it's good because the first character in the show. This is another compliment to the show, but the first character in the show to actually treat a kid like a kid got results, positive results. He got the results he wanted. He knew how to talk to kids. "Yo, you want to be my friend?" Um, he says, "Please, talk to you later." He's talking in a smooth voice. He's talking to a 12-year-old kid like they're 12. He didn't come onto the microphone saying, "Yo, tell me where you are," or I'll hurt you," or "I'll hurt the people around you," or, "You know that friend of yours? Do what I say or I hurt him." No, he came on there in a non-hostile way because he know that's how kids work. That's Kids are very vulnerable. Like, um, they don't know how to protect themselves. That's why adults protect them. That's why we protect them. But basically, he's like, "Yo, where you at?" Um, and then this girl has the girl with the red hair. I think her name is Lips, but she starts going crazy for some reason. I don't know what's going on with her. I think she's having synthetic doubts. I think that's what it is. She's having doubts about being synthetic. Um, I think this is like one of. I think they're having like a, what would you call it? A negative side effect of her being synthetic. And she's like, "Oh," and it's like the words are like, "You'll be immortal." And I think she's like, "I don't." She's like, "I don't want to be immortal." Or, What if I want to age?" And she's like, I don't know because the show doesn't explain it, but she's like, "What if I want to be I think she's realizing like she's not human anymore. She's even like she's losing her emotion, and I think she's basically getting depressed, realizing like she's not a kid. She'll be immortal forever now. But fast forward. Wendy wakes up. She wakes up from her table and she goes walk in the office. First of all, before that, we got to go back to Joe. Joe's on the table. They're repairing him, and they remove a lung from Joe. And I don't know where the show's going with this, but they put something from the face hugger. It's like a parasite from the face hugger. They put it into Joe's lung, which is in a tube, so it's not in Joe, but it's in a tube. And we don't know if like that they're going to put the lung back into Joe. I think I think they're going to put the lung back in Joe, and Joe's going to die like later on in like a lot of episodes, or they're going to use the lung and give Joe a new breathing lung, like a synthetic lung, and use his human parts to create a new xenomorph. Because there's no xenomorph right now. The xenomorph is dead. So obviously we have to create an alien somehow. And either they're going to put that body part back in Joe, because we have to get the alien pretty soon, and the alien is probably going to come back the next episode. And I wouldn't. It's probably going to come back the next episode, halfway through, because you got to have it. It's an alien show. So either they're going to use Joe Long to create a new xenomorph, or Joe's going to die. But Wendy's walking around. She's walking around, and she starts having these panic attacks because the face hugger is getting cut open, and she has a link to the xenomorphs now. For some reason, I don't know. I thought she was synthetic. I thought synthetic. They've been saying it forever that synthetic bodies can't have. And they say it's synthetics can't get impregnated. So, but we don't know what's going on with Wendy right now. So maybe the xenomorph did something to Wendy and then accepted his fate and died by Wendy. Um, but basically, Wendy is she's linked. She's like the mother now. She's the hive mind, and when the xenomorph facehugger dies, she passes out. Now, I don't know where they're going with this. I don't know I don't know like if Wendy starts protecting the xenomorphs, I might this might be live. It might just get that bad. I swear, if the xenomorphs become the um, victims of an alien show, I hope they don't do that. But it could happen. But basically, she's freaking out. You gotta remember, she's 12. She's going through some shit. She's screaming her mind out. Um, but yeah, the face hugger, they kill it and they take the thing out and they put it inside of the line. And she's moving around this facility. I imagine she has clearance to everything. That did bother me, but I'm pretty sure she has clearance because she is like the most sought after machine, I guess you would say. But yeah, it's basically how the show ends. Nothing. I mean, a lot of shit happened in this episode, so I will give credit. It wasn't as boring as like episode 3, where it was dragged on. The pacing wasn't that bad in this episode, and I will say it didn't get better, but it didn't get worse either. Like this episode didn't do anything necessarily like bad. It did have weird parts and annoying parts, but oh, I forgot all about the xenomorph fight. The xenomorph fight was retarded. It was just plain stupid. But that's about it. They put the xenomorph in a tube, and it cuts with the xenomorph attacking the lung. It's like, oh, food, and it gets inside of the lung. And I'm pretty sure this lung is going to go back in Joe, and and we'll go from there wherever we go next season. But Wendy's spazzing out on the floor, and it cuts to music. But I can't. Like I said, this episode it didn't do anything worse. It didn't do anything better. Uh, but it's just weird. Um, if I had to rate this episode out of 10, it's probably the best episode so far. Probably like a 6. Um, Once again, the set pieces look amazing. Um, the top 3 characters so far is Wendy, the black cyborg guy, and the old white guy with the gray hair. Not in order. In order, it's that's actually the order. Wendy is my favorite character so far, and the only reason Wendy's probably my favorite character is because she has the most screen time, and she is the main character, so she has to. She doesn't necessarily have to be the best character, but she definitely has to have the most information relayed. You just connect with her more because you see her more. Um, but yeah, 6 out of 10 episode. This wasn't that bad. It didn't get any better. It didn't get any worse, which is still not good because it's supposed to get better because the last 2 episodes were. What episode is this? I think this is episode 3, but I think this is episode 3. But the last 2 episodes pretty were kind of bad in my opinion. But that's it. Peace. I seen the video and goodbye.